Good morning. I'm Derek, and I just wanted to do a little update on fan game. I've been concentrating on fleets and individual planets, and I have a lot of things that are backwards. So let's just see what we can do. The idea that I'm concentrating on right now is taking a void ship from Terra. It goes to the tithe, picks it up, and returns. And I want it to be painterly. Ultimately, I would like it to look like the official artwork that you'd see in the old books, these nice hand-drawn illustrations. So that's what I'm going for. I think I have a lot of syntax, a lot of logic errors going on, but I managed to squash 70 errors earlier, and that felt like some progress. So here we are. We are a large cargo ship of the Black Fleet, specifically designed to transport the commodity that the Emperor needs. I've taken the cards off of the screen and put them on the map, and eventually, I don't know where the cards are going to live, but eventually they're going to be in a pattern, a tarot pattern. They're only going to change not as frequently. They're going to change, at a new age of the Imperium, or perhaps I'm going to give the player an opportunity to cast tarot and thereby have an effect on the world. So right now they just live on the map, which I've condensed down to 2D. It's still really 3D because when we're on the 3D ship view, I want to see all of these stars in real space, and you can go back to videos a couple years ago to see how that works. How the Imperial worlds, at least their stars are and their locations are visible in the real world map, and then there's the warp travel map, which is quite different because the warp is different. And embracing some of the ideas of the warp, I'm trying to go with the maps of metaphor. I've created. I don't know how cheesy it looks. We're gonna make this look a little more seamless, a bit more invisible. But we have these areas on all the edges of the map, and these are going to be just for areas of the warp. When something that's been plaguing me for a long time is that when sometimes these ships will get caught in a warp current and go very far away, to the point where floating point errors are really wigging everything out. So I've been just putting it off, and I finally got a little system in place so that when the player goes out of bounds now, they become lost, and they will be lost in one of these regions of the warp. And I'm going to try and make it less cheesy. I want to thank Dawi Zar, whose other name I don't remember, for the beautiful illustrations in the game. I've got about 50 nice little event illustrations that that need little stories and decisions for. And all the numbers need adjusting. Here we see the ship's trail has been adjusted. It's been an easy journey. We start with a lot of travel confidence leaving Terra, and that means for a longer trip, that confidence level will go down, and I put some very basic controls. I can hit the stop, and that will affect our travel confidence. And now we aren't on a course from Terra to know where we're going. We have stopped in a random spot, and on the ship level, which needs to be reincorporated on the ship level, then I have a procedural solar system almost ready to go that needs to be punched into it. But then we will drop into real space, and a lot of the reasons why I'm not doing it is I'm trying to focus just on world design and making the fleets seem cool and interesting. There's so many things that a black fleet wouldn't do. It wouldn't go into exploration, unless some random event caused it. But it's unlikely that they will be in any combat, because their goal would be to get out of combat. I have given 3 types of ships to the fleet right now, and trying to track those numbers. And they're basically, a picket defense, your capital ships, and then the cargo ships. But combat, I think, is going to come later. It's going to come pretty quick because I don't have the orcs in. I've taken them out. Let's see what happens if I put back in a bunch of sectors. I've placed about 80. I want it to be a bit more procedural and random. But the goal is to have 100,000 worlds on screen. And each one's unique. We're working on a history for each one. For some reason, I'm having a little bit of a... We have, I don't know if you can see our mounds. We have an orc Wa that's trapped and lost in the warp, so I can test being lost in the warp. An orc Wa over here by Ultramar, and another one over here, just so that I can see how they change and evolve. It's still very rudimentary. I will also working with starting how a crusade fleet might work. And right now it's just it's receiving orders to go to a certain problem area that's known about. There's a few hidden problem areas, and I'm having a logic issue with displaying the world's information. But if we look in, we see that this WA has created several battle zones, and the battle zones are nothing right now, but soon the battle zones are going to is how interstellar war is going to work. They're going to get big, or they're going to get small, and right now we just have the basics of the idea of them, but worlds that are within a battle zone are going to be affected. And thinking mostly about how orcs move. And there's our crusade fleet, and it will start out mustering. The goal is 100,000 worlds. Right now we're at 10%, I think. I am eliminating, I'm culling a lot of the useless worlds right now just to save space. I want them there because I want to simulate the whole Imperium, but it doesn't really matter for this particular fleet, and for right now I'm just concentrating, giving the players the abilities to control one fleet, and this also allows the AI, I'm giving the AI the same tools as the player. Well, the AI makes more decisions than the player because there's no the navigator knows where they're going. We have a very specific route. I'm working on that, but right now it's going to be one route, and right now it's locked in, but I need to make that a little different. But most of the worlds on here are they have 4 attributes and a bunch of other, but they have 4 main attributes and a bunch of other smaller attributes. Like they have a history, and it's a shame that I'm having an issue right now, which I know is just a logic issue for my Imperial world. But we are tracking its age, which is based on some random factors, how far away it is from Terra, and how important. So these numbers here are affecting this number here, and my 4 attributes, just calling them A, B, C, D. B is how industrialized the world is. A is how compliant with the Imperium's ideas the world is. So I'm tracking that just to make it I wanted I'd like 1 million worlds, and for all of them to be unique, and to do that I'm trying to come up with 7 variables so I can have each world as 1 in 1 million. But these numbers are pretty, they're random, but they're also based on each other and based on Terra, which drives the whole system. And that's all based on what the cards are doing. And the cards are letting the player know what is happening, what's going to happen, but mostly what is happening all over. And I should explain that a little bit better, but that's what I got right now. If we look at our ship, he is far from Terra and getting a bit farther. I wish I knew what I am doing wrong on the individual information for all the planets. they ought to be having something that's happening, but I'm obviously turning it off. I wonder where I'm turning that off at. So forgive me as I just go ahead and take a look. Forgive my artist code. I'm getting better. This is actually embarrassing. So, where am I turning off that canvas? And somehow, there we go. It should always be on. I'm turning it off somewhere, and I'm not sure, but maybe it's a scaling issue. But that's going to be the next thing that I look at. And I appreciate everyone's patience. And maybe I should start over and just concentrate on explaining what these numbers are actually doing. That might be a little bit better. So our crew efficiency is, of course, just how efficient our crew is. We are taking more crew on because we are at Terra. Here's our distance to Terra. We are. These aren't in light years yet. I'm still turning off all the canvases for my worlds, but we're going to work on that. So we got we finally have left the vicinity of Terra. We're moving to the Mandelbrot point. Mandelbrot? I forget the word. And now we have entered the warp. So I'll make a nice, better display here. I wanted to try and get some ships that felt 40K, but were, I just had a little bit of fun with playing around with it. Tithe distance is, of course, how far we have to go. Terra distance is how far we've gone on this trip. Our warp signature is how noticeable we are in the warp. Warp currents will give us will put us out. We want to work with the navigator wants to work with the currents and not against them. Maleficarum is how much tank there is on the ship, and it's just got a little bit. I think that number will go up to 16,000, and will get a lot higher as we bring commodity aboard. Command width is like battlefield width. How much space it controls, how much area. Travel confidence is how confident the navigator is. Days traveled, and let me adjust a lot of these numbers, but days traveled is how long we've traveled. We see at the bottom of the list there's a ship age. That will update when we get back into real space, or more likely it updates when it reaches the tithe and when it reaches Terra. And that is because the ship time is not going to equal time on Terra, let's just call it that. Because we're going faster than light, there's going to be some time weirdness. Not always. But if we look at the bottom of the screen, I need to make this a little bit better and put it somewhere else. But here's our date. We're 7 years after the heresy in M31. And the current age of the Imperium is the age of the Scouring. And that is where all the trader fleets are retreating into the Eye of Terra. And the Imperium is, trying to crush these. And I think that is the flavor of the age of the age of the Scouring. And as we go through the different ages, I can fire off events to give that age its flavor. Okay. Sector numbers like sector 7173 with 46 worlds, some of which have been culled so that for slowdown reasons. So if a world's crap with a low population, it's not going to show up. But if a world's interesting with a low population, and say like it has a very low easy living score but a very high imperial compliance score, those are interesting worlds because those are your death worlds where we haven't started thinking about population, but those death worlds are where nice recruitment will happen when we get there. Right now we'll be happy if we can make the journey to Ultramar interesting and working. But we have dreams for the future. Right now, 10% of the sectors will, have an extra map slapped on. And what I'm trying to do here is, first of all, make it look okay, which it doesn't yet. It looks awful. But each of these, special story sectors will have a story or some landmark. Like I'm thinking that these might be where I'll have the big permanent warp storms that will be around for 10,000 years or so ish. Warp storms now can last from a month to 1,000 years or so. Just to make them a little bit different from the really more permanent ones. And I'm going to go back in and look at how I've started from scratch rebuilding the warp storms, but I'm going to go back and look at how they would grab things. They would grab the player and really toss it about. But I didn't proceed on that because I had not yet made the boundaries to get lost, because warp storms made it very easy to get lost, to go out of bounds, which as they should. So Crusader fleet doesn't have anything to do, and next time I'm so sorry that these planets are not displaying their information, because it's very interesting, and we have a whole bunch of numbers that soon we're going to be able to generate an interesting history for each of these worlds. So right now they've got a star, and the planets and moons will be modeled out because they'll have to be there in the ship view, because one of my goals for the game is really nice orbital bombardment. I want a planet that's to scale. It's 10,000 times bigger than your mile-long spaceship, and there's a war on the planet with a front 1,000 miles long. And if you have a void ship, tactical advantage there, in my opinion. So I want realistic orbital bombardment that looks beautiful, and that'll probably come after I've, at least until after I've devised really got all the worlds working, and then can go back, and it's going to be a really nice, beautiful jump surprise to go. Because ultimately, this map here, which I'm using to build the history parts, it's just supposed to be a display, a hologrammatic display on board the battle bridge, which would be more of a, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get a first-person view, as in a dream game where the player is a Primarch, and later, because this is just baby steps, but I would like to set the game 100 years, 300 years earlier with the Great Crusades. But that is the goal for any kind of official game. This is just what I can do. And that's about it. It's exhausting. I'm sorry that I couldn't get the whatchamacallit to show up. But I made a lot of good progress the last 3 weeks. I know it looks completely different. It's not. It's always been the same. The display is different. I want even at the ship level, I would like it to look like some of the official paintings, some of the art, and that's the goal. Of course, in 3D. So we're not there yet. The stuff that I had on the ship level looks okay, and it's going to look better. I've gotten a lot better since. So working on individual ships later, working on fleets and solar systems and sectors at the moment. But it's getting there, and I have about 50 little short story blurbs to at least outline and get in and make it beautiful. All right. Oh, no, we're still there. These poor guys have been traveling for 2 years to get to Ultramar, which I think should take about 3 months. And I want that trip to be interesting. I don't want the player to have to be dealing with pop-ups all the time. So I like how rare the event pop-ups are going. But we're going to get into the nitty-gritty soon. I want to be able to zoom in and deal with some problems. Like there's no reason why we shouldn't give the players something to deal with a little bit of Maleficarum taint that it's retained from somewhere. There's a lot of places that warp taint can get in, and just had a bit of a failure on the navigator's part. So close, almost 3 years of travel, and navigator error, and who knows where it's going now. We are displaying that sprite upside down. Oh, there we go. It's picking up its cargo, which of course is putting its warp taint through the roof, and it will get back to Terra And I guess then at Terra it will age up. And back to warp, so we're doing a little bit less jittering. We're getting it. I want to thank everybody for your patience. I'm gonna try to do a few new things, and I'll talk to everyone soon. Thank you.